Hi, it's Jake and I back for another little go at it. Today I'm going to talk about To See a Whale. That's the new children's picture book that we're about ready to bring to the publisher. We finally received the last, I shouldn't say finally, we received the last drawing that is going to go into the book, and it happens to be the cover page. It's going to look like this. It's a story about me and my oldest grandson going on a whale watch down in Provincetown, Massachusetts, on the Dolphin. Now, at the time, it wasn't the Dolphin 11, it was, I think, the Dolphin 6 or 7, maybe even the 8. There's been quite a few of them. Brandon has ADHD. Now, everybody is all concerned about ADHD being caught by a virus or whatever it is because of the increased numbers of people coming in diagnosed with ADHD. To be honest with you, I don't think the population has increased anymore. I think we've just gotten better at recognizing it. When I was in high school, there was no ADHD, but there was the kid that was fidgety. There was the kid that had to interrupt us, and there was, of course, the class clown. All of these were signs of what now we call attention deficit. And some of them could get pretty bad. They could be bullies if they wanted to be. But Brandon wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until he was 5 years old. In fact, he was just entering kindergarten. Now, his mom is a single mom, so I kind of filled in the role as dad as well as grandfather. And so we went on adventures. I took him fishing on the CJ in Provincetown, and we have a story about how he asked to go again without asking in a book called Grandpa Needs Fishing Lessons. That was published a few years ago. We had a bunch of other stories that we kept in our mind, and when we decided this year to bring out the one where we went on a whale watch on the Dolphin, which sails out of Provincetown Harbor. It's probably the most successful whale watching boat in the industry. They were among the first to put in naturalists on board out of the Woodhull and the Coastal Studies Organization. They were the first to identify a humpback whale by the name of Salt, and she's in the book. So we went on the whale watch. Well, ADHD kids also have a propensity to ask questions after questions after questions. So Brandon asked questions, and of course at that time he was known as BJ. That's an interesting story. When he went into kindergarten earlier that year, and he introduced himself to the group, a child just before him introduced himself as Brandon. Well, Brandon thought he stole his name. That's what he told me when he came home. So from that point on, he had to be BJ. He didn't return to the name Brandon until he went into grade 9. And then he told me, well, BJ's kind of a little boy's name, and I'm a big boy now. So he became Brandon, and that's what he is for the rest of his life. Well, the story of the See a Whale, we see a lot of different things, and he asks different questions. We see a sunfish known as a mula mula. We see a basking shark. We see dolphins. And finally, we see whales. And boy, do we see whales. If you ever want to go on a whale watching trip, the interesting thing about the Dolphin is that Provincetown is probably the closest port to Stillwagon Bank, where a lot of the whales feed on. So you get a little extra time in amongst the whales. In fact, my wife and I once went on a trip, and we had 60 of them surround the boat. They spy hopped us. I'm pretty sure they were wondering who we were as much as us wondering about them. Anyway, that's our story. We're hoping the book will come out in mid-April, and we hope you'll enjoy it. When it does come out, we'll do a podcast and show you the book, and it will be available on Amazon and through our publisher. So, have a great day. Keep an eye out for the whales, no matter where you live. See you down the road. Bye now.